So let me tell a little bit about the story of the project. The editorial team is a group of scholars who have been gathering for a long time. Some of them, as I said, for decades. They come from different countries. We, at this point of the group, the editorial committee has people from Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, Germany, France, India. And we organize a series of workshop seminars in Freiburg, twice in Strasbourg, in Brasilia, and in Puebla in 2018. And that one, the last one was important, not because it was in Puebla and they were visiting me, but because that was the moment that we said, why not a handbook? And that is something that actually created the conditions for this project. And we thought it could be possible to have another meeting in 2020 in the ISA in Porto Alegre in Brazil, but situation changed and it went virtual. The conference went virtual and we couldn't organize that. So we expect to be able to meet in the near future. Throughout these years, the members of the team and other colleagues that sometimes could and sometimes couldn't make it to the conferences or workshops, engage in a debate about conceptualization, theories, cases, problems, and even methodological approaches to knowledge circulation. And this is important because at the moment we decided to write a handbook, that created a kind of diversity that we didn't want to suppress. We didn't want to hide behind a rationale that says, okay, this is knowledge circulation, this is the typical valid case that you should focus on, and the rest is not important. So that diversity is important. So right now the study of the circulation of knowledge is something like an emerging field, an emerging subfield or topic. It depends on how to approach this, and this could be one of the issues to talk about. Because when we suggested to some publishers the handbook, some of, for example, Oxford University Press says this is a very interesting project, but this is interdisciplinary and we don't publish interdisciplinary handbooks. Because for them, a handbook is a kind of core text for a discipline. So, and they said, if you are willing to move to a sociological approach to knowledge circulation, well, we will be very happy to publish a handbook in the sociology of knowledge circulation, but not something that comes from history, anthropology, economics, and so on. The other idea about the handbook is that for many of us, especially those like Rigas who have been mentoring a master student and PhD student for a long time, there was no important book to recommend. Just read this and you will have a kind of map of what is going on, but especially of how to do research. Because since knowledge circulation is so diverse, okay, you can, it's totally different to study the circulation through bibliometrics and the circulation through biographics account of specific scholars in history. So it's so different that it's hard to say that they are both talking about knowledge circulation. And we think they are, but we needed to put those styles and those approaches in dialogue. So this also characterized our editorial process because we have taken care with the editorial team of a sort of editorial work to draw on the viewpoint of all authors. So we organize online workshops. Let me say that every time we talk about a round of workshop, we are talking about at least 7 workshops. So we have already 2 rounds of workshops, and probably there will be at least 1 more. So it's a lot of work of many people who are trying to create a conversation at the same time that they are, reading for writing the chapter and writing the chapter, outlining the chapter. So this is an important part for us. The final organization of the book, it was very interesting because in the Puebla meeting, we decided to organize the call around some topics. But we thought that probably we would receive contributions that were not fit in this category. And actually, we didn't find any contribution that was not possible to classify in one of these 7 areas. Of course, there are works that can be in more than one, but with all these areas, we found that we could make sense of almost everything, I would say. So I would say a few words about any of this section as in the remaining of the presentation, and we can also talk about the implications and also about the gaps or the holes in the argument. So the first section will be about conceptualizing, and this is important, as I said, because researchers have coined a variety of key concepts to understand, represent, explain, and classify processes of knowledge circulation. And many times they create a new concept because they pay attention to one particular case and they realize that for that case, it would be nice to have a concept with this and that feature. So after years of studying knowledge circulation, we have a number of concepts that can be used. So engaging critically with this existing notion, new concepts focus, for example, on how knowledge changes when it circulates between unequal contexts, for example, global north and global south. So we have things like hegemonic languages, legitimation, enactment of local assemblages, circuits of recognition, localization, indigenization, recontextualizing, and circulation of incorrect information in academic mainstream journals. And we have even other concepts. These are probably the main important concepts. And again, this is important because there are overlapping areas between these concepts. And of course, because there are more concepts out there and that we couldn't include. Why we couldn't include? Well, because we rely basically on a call for contribution on the one hand, and on the other hand, because we think that this section, the section on concept, is always a partial one. It's impossible to have all the concepts. So we believe we have the important ones, the most used ones, but still we will be dealing with new concepts probably between now and the moment that the book is published or in the near future. The second section is about the spaces and actors of circulation. As I said, circulation always implies movement across spaces carried out by different types of actors during a given time period. That's like the basic. So one way of studying this is precisely to pay attention to actors and spaces. In this section, section 2, we pay attention to prominent figures or roles, sometimes not the person, but the function of the person within organization. Actors can be individuals or groups that carry with them knowledge while they move through places, for example. Sometimes such movements are motivated by personal or professional decisions. Sometimes they become knowledge brokers. Sometimes we are talking about skilled professional migration processes or exiles because of wars, because of political problems in a country. So here we are talking about this very important process that, according to the history of science, the history of knowledge, were shaping flows of knowledge at the international level. Alternatively, we also deal with collective actors that have contributed to the slow institutionalization, playing relevant roles in advancing knowledge. Some cases, for example, religious organization. We were talking a little bit about this group of Catholic or Jesuit universities, but also the classic academic spaces like conferences, professional associations, international organizations, library, museums that contribute to gathering, classifying, and curating knowledge. So here the focus is on actors. Of course, you can focus on one actor, but according to the theoretical framework you use, the actor will behave differently, and that's something interesting that we hope also that the section can show.